In this video, we're going to kind of do an update and talk about this Wanzl extra core carbine that I got. There's been a lot of questions. There's a few people that have been helping me with this and asking me questions about it. And I have one individual I'd like to take the time to thank, my friend Robert in Austria, who he's helped me out an awful lot with this gun. When I purchased it, he's a fellow collector. He's in, again, national pride. He knows an awful lot about these Austrian guns. So what he did is I sent him some photographs of it when I purchased it last month. And he went to, I have his messages here, an antique arms show in Vienna. And he went there to a local collector. I have the guy's name. It's Yashi Shai. I get how you spell it. He's wrote a few books on this. And then the thing is, with a lot of these older weapons, you can find extremely good reference books, but they're written in a foreign language like German or French, depending on the country of origin. But he went and checked with a local collector, and what he found about this was in the first batch prototype guns. And it's extremely unusual. The fact that it's the center fire also meant it was a prototype. They did adopt this rifle, and a rimfire was a standard issue. I believe there were 70,000 of these guns converted, and that's all variations. That's the long rifle, the short rifle, and this extra core carbine. I don't know how many variations there are exactly, but they are all based on the Lorenz muzzle loading musket, okay, which all of these were at one time. This was. And this particular gun, he said it depended on which shop it was sent to. Another thing he told me was that there was no one centralized factory. The fact that this conversion is actually made to where it's milled, and how you can tell is like the door, the trap door, and that is basically attached right there, and when you look at the barrel, you can see where it's been cut out and milled to where that block drops in there. Some of the conversions you'll see, like a shoulder here, where they've cut the barrel off and screwed an assembly on there. And that also was varied from what location or what factory was converted. But that's about the most of the updated history on it. And now, because this is a center fire, the question has arisen, are we going to shoot it, how to shoot it? And I've been looking at it. What I have to do is I slug the bore. The groove diameter is about 600. All of these guns are very similar, like to the Snyder, okay? The bullet you'd use, the groove diameter, the bores, they're all basically the same caliber, and that's why these guns were imported during the American Civil War to supplement, because they used the same ammunition, the same diameter bullet or ball. So what I intend to do is, like I said, I've slugged the bore. The groove diameter is about 600. I'm going to have to do a chamber casting to get an idea on how we're going to go about making some brass. Now, to me, it looks like, and from the documentation and information that I have, the only difference between this and the Snyder is the overall cartridge length is about 1 inch 2, or the overall case length, case length, the length of the case. It's about 1.276. I'm going by this, and Robert also sent me for a rimfire Wanzl conversion, a drawing on how to make a case that'll go with the rimfire version. And his is about 1 inch 280, where a Snyder case is 2 inches long. So you see there's almost, you're taking more than a ½ inch off. So the length of the case is much shorter than a Snyder, but it uses the same bullet. And from what I've been getting, the information, 60 some grains of powder with a 400, what's that one fellow says, 456 grain bullet. And what I was using in the Snyder, I got a bullet mold from NOE Bullet Molds, 582-461RF. And what this is this is a mini ball style mold, but what he does is he gives you 3 sets of these pins in the bottom of the mold here. And there's 2 types of minier or mini ball hollow base pins and a flat one. So you can make a flat solid slug. I got the one here, this particular base, what it does, it's a hollow base and it goes in and it makes the skirt is thicker. There's another type of pin that's a little bit more shallow and the skirt will be thin, like for a muzzle loader. And then you have kind of like a halfway where it's a thicker base, more like for a cartridge gun like the Snyder or something. That's why I was using it. Or if you don't want to use the hollow base, you put the flat pin in there and you make a solid slug. With the pin I have in here, these bullets are coming out at about 460. So it's close to what this one fellow's using. The diameter on them, you know, they don't drop down in the bore. The diameter on them now, and I was using just soft lead. Diameter is about 582 or something. And I'm not sizing them, I'll just lube them up, and then with the hollow base it should expand out and engage the rifling. So I fired a few of these in the Snyder and they worked fairly well. But, you know, I didn't do any fine tuning or a lot of work with it yet, but I believe it'll fit into this. So that's where we're going to go. So I'm going to do some chamber casting today, probably make a video on chamber casting once I get it. This has to be totally disassembled and cleaned, and I have another gun in question. But that's where I am with the Wanzl. And I will do a video discussing the ammunition and different techniques to make cases. Like I said, this one's easier, but once we get there, we'll look into doing a rimfire, which we're going to have to use some different techniques. It's not so much as simple as taking a case and trimming it and sizing it. There's going to be some machining and some forming done. There's 2 options. You can either straight turn the brass or make a composite, which basically you turn a head about a ½ inch long and then take a piece of copper tubing and solder it to the head, which is kind of, I've never done it, I've been looking into it. I might give it a try. I don't know how successful it'll be, but it's kind of a tricky situation, but you will have a case that'll react like a drawn copper case, other than the turned cases. And the reason the turned cases, I mean, they're good and they'll work. Let's see what the other thing is. Hold on a second. Okay, when I was working with the Snyder, I took the MagTech shotgun brass, and it fires and the chamber's weird and, you know, the cases come out, but you can run them back up the Lee sizing die and you're back to square one again, okay? When I use a turn from solid stock case, what happens is first thing there's a little ding there where I hit it with the expanding plug. These cases don't like it, and they're unforgiving. And then when I fired it and tried to resize it, I found that, you see where the resizing die is cutting a notch in there? These don't go back down, they have no give. So basically, if you turn the brass, what you're going to do is once you fire it, you're going to have a reusable sleeve that fits in your gun and that one gun. With these weird chamber, these older guns don't have a refined or real tight chamber, then this piece of brass will only fit in that gun after that. And trying to get it down to where you can crimp the bullet again. But then again, with black powder, a lot of guys will just fire something, fill it up with black powder or filler, get the bullet seated down and just do something to lightly crimp it and then reuse the gun, which is fine. Okay, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I just kind of don't like doing it. I'd rather have something I can run through the dies and then take that case and use it in one or two different guns. But that is the thing about having turned brass. Once you fire it, it's going to be mated up to that gun probably. So that's it on my update. I'm going to try to get some work done and do some chamber casting this afternoon.